What is going on, everybody? Can you see me? Can you hear me? 2 drafts today. Probably going to do 2. Just because Underdog allows us the 20-second per pick drafts, so we can take advantage of that. I will do my absolute best to also answer questions. We're hoping for a poll pick, right? An early pick or a late pick, so we have more time to answer the questions. But again, I'll do my best. But because we're doing 2 drafts, we're probably just going to hop right into one. So join now. We're going to do the Schnauzer, which only a $3 entry, but I was looking at the prizes. You can still get up to $100,000 for first place, and even advancing is $100. So I don't know, 20 entry max too. So you're not going to have a bunch of pros filtering in 150 lineups. So we're going to join into this one. I think it's close to almost full. I mean, I don't know what percent that is, but like 80%. Yeah, $3 entry. We're going to do this one. It's normal. It's not Superflex. They did open a Superflex. Yeah, it could be louder. I think there is a setting. I'll probably play with that next time. I did post Superflex. So they posted like the puppy, but Superflex, or I don't know what they called it. They called it something. It's a $5 entry. If you want to play Underdog, Best Ball, Superflex, I do have rankings for that now on the website. Obviously, I'm going to fiddle around with that because it literally just came out today. Make sure it's not crazy from ADPs. But the moral of the story in that is quarterbacks. My goodness. Like, if you thought quarterbacks went early in redraft league best ball or redraft league Superflex, yeah, look at the ADPs on how early quarterback goes in a best ball format for Superflex. Just because you have to start 2 quarterbacks every week if you want to even compete. But you get the opportunity to capitalize on your best quarterback. So you need 3, 4 quarterbacks you feel solid about. It just means everyone is just hammering quarterback. It's also like safe. I mean, you know these quarterbacks are going to score at least an okay amount of points per game. So again, you got to hammer quarterback early in that one. But we are not doing that. We are doing regular. I don't think my rankings have changed that much early on. I've fiddled with a little bit in the middle rounds, in the later rounds. I think I dropped quarterback a little bit as well. You can see my rankings. Pushing back to being a little bit behind ADP on the early quarterbacks just because they're falling. And whenever we see players falling, we want to be a little bit behind ADP on those players until they stabilize. Then we can kind of jump up. No need to take Josh Allen at 32 when he's falling, right? He's already fallen to 34 now. He might fall to 35, 36. Let's be behind ADP, make sure we're getting a value when we draft them. Can you touch on Dynasty a little bit today? Yes, ask specific questions maybe to help guide me in exactly what you want to kind of know about. I can go over. I did pull up the Dynasty rookie rankings if that's kind of what you're talking about, but let me know exactly what you want to hear about Dynasty. So I'll pull up the big board here. Obviously, we got the 12 pick, exactly what we asked for. I mean, we didn't ask for 12, but we asked for a poll pick so I could actually answer some of the questions in the video. Probably going to be a wide receiver start. That's what I like doing at one of the polls. But obviously, we would take Gentry if he's there. We would consider maybe McCaffrey or Henry. But most of the time, when I've been ending up with this like general range pick here, I've been double dipping at receiver. But we will see what's available at that pick. I don't think anything weird has happened so far. Chase, Bijan, Saquon, Jefferson, Lamb, Neighbor, Puka, Tom. Okay, everything normal has happened. So yeah, either double wide receiver or we're going to grab McCaffrey and wide receiver. And then we'll go to everything else. They take St. Brown. So we will go with Nico Collins. And we will go with Christian McCaffrey. Excellent. Good start for us. And then we'll put this here so you guys can see all of that. Lovely. Okay. I'll just talk a little bit about Dynasty. So rookie drafts this year. Last year was gross for running back, right? This is just kind of like a general kind of thought process here. Last year was gross for running back. People who invested at running back last season hoping they'd get something got nothing. Unless you drafted Bucky Irving. I mean, I can't off the top of my head think of another running back that like was really, really good. There was a ton of busted running backs early on last season. So a lot of teams are going to want running back. And luckily for us, it's an amazing class, not only because we have the high end of Gentry, Hampton, things like that, but there's a ton of other ones. So you want to be leaning running back early on. It's not an amazing draft class for wide receiver. Hunter and McMillan are awesome. I like Ibuka long term, but there's not that many amazing wide receivers. if you have any of a top, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any of a top 10 pick, I would say. Your lean is running back. If you want to go with Hunter, McMillan, that's obviously fine to do. Ibuka, Golden, if you want to go with one of them. But my lean is probably running back, whatever's the best running back at that spot. If you're at a tail pick, for me, I have the 112 in a league that I have not. I have Kincaid, but I don't trust him at tight end, and I have nothing after that. It is actually a good spot if you're at like that 111, 112, even like 201, 202, to grab one of Loveland or Warren. That's a good spot for one of them because it's likely one of the top running backs are gone. But if you have an opportunity to add value, grab any of Genty, Hampton, Henderson, Harvey, Judkins, or Caleb Johnson in round 1, I would do that. Even early second round, if you want Scattaboo, if you are a Tootin fan, probably the only 2 I would grab in like the early second round. Then you're pushing more into the late second round for like our guy, Jarquez Hunter, Dylan Sampson, Jane Blue, kind of shots on them. And then after that, obviously, it's kind of dart throws. I don't mind Jordan James. I don't mind Rashard Smith, a shot on Devin Neal, Woody Marks, Ollie Gordon, I think could be something. So those are kind of the names of running back I'd be looking at. If you were going wide receiver in like the second round, I mean, I like Trey Harris. Luther Burden got a good landing spot, obviously. But there's no one. Pat Bryant would be probably is like a third round pick, though. I don't know. That's kind of how I'm seeing Dynasty, at least as of right now. Happy birthday. Thank you. Yes, birthday. We're doing 2 streams on my birthday today. On a slow draft, you got Jamar, Higgins, Tyreek, Waddle, Mixon start from the 1 spot. Like you kind of mentioned in one of your last videos. So I've been getting that a lot. When you grab Jamar, a lot of times Higgins in that spot. A lot of time Tyreek Hill is available at this spot. I really like the upside of a Chase, Higgins, Tyreek start, and then kind of starting to attack wide receiver middle. And if you can grab Waddle, you can get Tua later on. Maybe you could get, obviously a Burrow with Tua stack. Like, I think that is a ton of upside this season. All right, you guys have seen what's happened here. I have not, but we will minimize. We will go over to our pick. We have one of each. We can go hero RB for sure here, McCaffrey and Nico Collins. I like Mike Evans, 1,000 yards every year, explosive player, good upside in this format, obviously. Probably going to end up with him for one of the picks. After that, I want people's thoughts on Breece Hall. I've been kind of up and down on him. I think that's who I'm going to end up drafting. We're going to kind of have one of each here. I'd love to know people's thoughts there. I think he's objectively the best running back on this team. I don't have a lot of hopes for the Jets. I don't think they're actually going to be that good of an offense this season. But if I think he's the best running back and he's explosive and he can have receiving upside, obviously Fields is not going to dump the ball off very much to him, which is a concern. But what if they just decide he's their best running back, they feature him, and you're getting a featured running back at the 401? Like, I think that's in his range of outcomes in a way that, certainly possible for a lot of the backs in this range. And I like the backs in this range. But in a way where, like, he's an extraordinary talent that we used to be taking with an early, was he a top, 7 pick at one point? I don't know. I think the upside is pretty significant, and we've seen him. The best indicator of success in the NFL is past success in the NFL. We know he's good. And it's kind of a range at that point. I can pull up is it this one? Yeah. At wide receiver after Evans, there is kind of a drop-off. Like, I like all of, this general range at wide receiver. I think their ADPs make mostly sense. You can kind of nitpick exactly where they should be ranked, but I like the general range. As you get past Evans into Tet, Worthy, Devonta, Sutton, Metcalf, you can start to poke holes in every single one of them. I think Tet, I probably should move Tet up a little bit. He probably makes the most sense in that range. But at 38, you're still asking a lot for him to really return on that. Worthy, I have concerns about, he went off at the end of last season, but that was when they shifted him into, I don't want to say the Rashee Rice role, but into a role that was much more low ADOT, much closer to line of scrimmage. That is a role that Rashee Rice is going to have when he returns. And so when they shift Worthy back into that deep threat role, does he lose some of that value where it wasn't working early in the season? Then they shifted him into this role and it started to get a little bit better. Obviously, he's going to grow as a player. And I still think he's a great prospect. And I think it makes sense his ADP at this spot, especially in this format because of the obvious explosive upside. and you want to capitalize on that in best ball. But I have some concerns with him if Rice, doesn't get suspended, is as good as he was to close his rookie season and to start the next season. Is there room for Worthy to have, a huge ceiling at this ADP? I don't know. Just a concern. I'm not saying he's not going to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you got a number 2 wide receiver in a low volume passing offense. You've got a team that's going to spread the ball a lot more here in Sutton. Like Metcalf, are they going to throw the ball 30 times a game? No. So it's like there's holes in all these players. Again, I think Metcalf I like the most there, but I wouldn't have taken Metcalf in like the early 4th round. So that's kind of why I'm looking at Breece Hall there. And I'm like, well, you used to be like a first-round pick, and you're one of the best running backs in the NFL. What if they feature you? And I'm getting a feature running back with Christian McCaffrey. There's a world where McCaffrey and Breece Hall are top 5 running backs, and I'm pairing them with Nico and Evans. That's kind of the story about the start there. Okay. At our next pick, and then I will get to questions at the next turnaround. We're going to be on the clock in a second. We're not going to go with tight end. It's too early to take any of these guys. Let's sort by my rank here. I would take Waddle at this spot. I would probably take Addison if there wasn't, another running back value. At running back, I like this range. I definitely think Waddle would be our play there, and we're not going to take quarterback. So we'll let it auto us Waddle. Then our choices between Addison and the running backs. My rankings have Addison 5 spots ahead of the next running back. And I do think construction-wise, it makes sense to do this. We don't need to overload running back. We have to start 3 wide receivers every week. It'd be lovely if we could start 4 every week with that flex spot. So having Addison in there adds another explosive playmaker. Obviously contingent upside if Jefferson were to get injured. On a good offense, we get the leverage if, they're going to score points, right? We want players on good teams so that when we advance into the finals, hopefully with this team, we got someone on Minnesota. Hopefully Addison's the one scoring 3 touchdowns, and that takes away from Jefferson teams because we don't have him, and we probably will not end up with many other players there. Okay. Why is Tet higher in Superflex tight end premium than Hunter? So sometimes what happens is when players, so the overall ranking for him, I pulled up just the one quarterback one, is 21, it's 22 in the other one. Sometimes it can just be a rounding thing when you have the projections in there, when you have the numbers in there. Sometimes they're so close, it just flip-flops them. I really think in Dynasty, when you're making that call in rookie drafts, or I guess for startups anyways, when you're making that call, they are so close, they are effectively tied. I think you got to go with your personal feelings. Do you want the athleticism of Travis Hunter, someone who's a freak athlete, just an unbelievable athlete that I don't think people fully contextualize, but with that risk that he's going to be playing on defense, he might not be a full-time player on offense, and he is not a number 1. Brian Thomas Jr. is the number 1. That's not up for debate. Or do you want to go with Tet? Not as good of an athlete, still a very good athlete, on a worse offense with, a quarterback that we don't 100% know. We saw glimpses last season that he can be good, but his rookie season was terrible. His start to year 2 was terrible, and then he started to kind of get going. We don't know with Bryce Young. We don't know how good he's going to be. So do you want to go with the more traditional wide receiver in Tet, or do you want to go with the freak athlete in Hunter, who's maybe not going to play as much on offense and is a number 2, not number 1 like Tet? I don't 100% know. I think if I had my draft, I would probably lean Hunter, but that's basically why they flip-flop in these rankings, because they're projected. I'm putting them literally even, and sometimes the rounding just kind of flip-flops them. But you've just got to make a call in those two. It only happens when they're literally tied. It'll flip-flop in different formats. Okay. Go to our next pick here. 7-12, 801, 2 running back, 4 wide receivers. We will have a Tampa Bay stack, but I don't know how much I want to reach on it, but it's an option for us going for Baker. Okay, Baker's gone. No more stack there. Running back. Okay value on Pollard. I probably wouldn't draft another running back there. Decent upside on Jaden Reed. He's falling, which I don't love, but decent upside there. Hawkinson actually makes sense. We have Addison. Hawkinson gives us a stack here. We can go with McCarthy later on in the draft. So I think he makes sense as the pick there. Between Jaden and Pollard, my rankings say Jaden. I have Jaden pretty low, honestly, in the rankings. I'm kind of factoring in so much, volume going to so many different players that he just can't have a high target share. In redraft league, I'm not going Jaden. I'm not going to ever know when to start him. But in this format, best ball, I don't have to figure that out. I don't have to make that call of when I'm starting Jaden Reed versus Golden versus Watson if he ever returns later in the season versus Dobbs versus, Savion Williams. Like, there's so many receivers there you're not going to know in redraft leagues. But in best ball, there's going to be a few weeks where Jaden Reed is heavily involved, has a great game, and I'll capitalize on that upside as my 5th wide receiver. So I would definitely take him in this format when he becomes available, not in too much of a deeper format. Okay, let's get to some questions here. All right, we got someone at 103 and someone at 109. Don't take too many of my picks. Thoughts on a trade I did recently. Full PPR, I'm just going to assume it's Dynasty. You traded Garrett Wilson for Laporta. I can pull up, let's see. Garrett Wilson, I have value 66. Laporta, 42. So I don't know your format, but I would probably prefer Garrett Wilson straight up in like a normal PPR Dynasty format. Yeah, I have Garrett Wilson as the 16th wide receiver. He's still 24.8 when the season starts, looks like. Yeah, I would probably still prefer Garrett Wilson. So I don't know how much I like the trade, but also don't know. Sometimes people throw the trades in weird there. Nick, if there's a guy you're going out of your way to draft this year, who is it? Typically, no one. Typically, I never want to go out of my way to draft anyone. I want to let the draft come. I want to get the value where I'm able to get the value. In terms of who I would be okay reaching for, it's tough to know before camps open because I have a lot of takes in my mind, but we're going to see once camp happens, are those takes actually going to happen? I'll be honest, I wouldn't hate reaching for George Kittle. I know that's going to shock a few people, but I feel like he could be really good this season. No Ayuk, no Debo, no guarantee that any of the wide receivers fully step up to a huge target share. I like DK Metcalf a decent amount this season. Running backs, you guys know I like Harvey. In Underdog, I don't know how much I'd be reaching on his ADP is pretty high, but in redraft leagues, I would probably be able to reach on that. I like Cam Scatterboo a decent amount. I do like Pearsall a good amount. I would say later on, you're probably reaching a little bit more for some of these guys. I don't think I'd reach for any of the quarterbacks. I feel like Kittle's the one, but reach for Kittle means like, if his ADP is, let's just pretend it's 66, I'd be good taking him, just like in this general range over here. But more so in redraft. In best ball, again, you never really want to reach for anyone in best ball because you're going up against so many teams. I think this one's like 180,000 people we have to beat to get that 100,000 to first place. That's so many people we have to beat that are going to get these players at good discounts. So there's no reason to reach unless it's like, you're not drafting that many teams and it's a stack you really need. Like, other than that, there's no reason. Pittman would be an unbelievable pick here. Thank goodness. We love that. His ADP is rising, but I'm loading up on Pittman as much as I can right now because I promise you his ADP is going up even higher. After Pittman with this pick, I don't mind Loveland, but we have Hawkinson, so we don't really need that. I don't mind going Shaheed. Another player really fits the format. I think is also being undervalued this season by my rankings. He's easily top there. Not in love with any of these running backs. Don't need any of those quarterbacks. So we'll double dip at wide receiver. We'll take Pittman, Shaheed. This is a good wide receiver room. Nico, Evans, Waddle, Addison, Reed, Pittman, Shaheed. We've already got 7 wideouts. We're probably only going to draft 8. So we need to start focusing on some other positions. But we're good to go with Hawkinson there. We've got a stable running back room. We're probably going to want to focus a little bit on running back in the next round. Hopefully we can double dip at running back. We will see. But yeah, we need to touch running back here. But I'm cool going, triple mid to late. I guess the mid late to late rounds. I don't know how to word it. But in this general, 12 plus range for quarterback, I'm good triple dipping in that spot. There's some pretty solid options that we can get. And to be honest, a lot of them match up with our quarterbacks. I mean, look at our wide receivers. Look at what we have. We've got, Tua here. We've got McCarthy here. Love's gone, but we can try and figure out, maybe we go AR later on. Maybe we get Shuck super late. Like, we've got options for us here. Some of them scare me because I don't know who's starting. So we probably want one that we know is starting in week 1, though. Because we're cooked if we don't have anyone starting. We draft 3 quarterbacks. How many rookie running backs are you willing to draft as your starters or flex in redraft this year before it gets too risky? That's a study I really, really want to do. I semi have the data for it right now. Might take a little engineering on that data, but I want to see how teams kind of work out. My general kind of thought process is we know rookie running backs break out in the second half of the year. Wide receivers, but really all rookies. Wide receivers, especially second half of the year. But we know it's more likely that a rookie running back, unless it's like Genty, right, where it's obvious he's going to be a starter in week 1. We know sometimes they start off a little bit slower. So you don't want to have your entire starting lineup, these rookie running backs. I would say if you're starting 1, it's obviously fine to start off. And Genty, honestly, don't even count him. Count him as a vet. So I'm talking like starting with Hampton on. I probably would I wouldn't want to go any more than 2. So if you had like your running back 2 in your flex spot or both rookies, that is probably enough risk. I'm hoping that the rest of my lineup is pretty stable players, or players that, I'm pretty darn confident are going to be good. We will learn early on, right? You might take a hit in week 1 and be like, ooh, that was a mistake, right? You kind of got to go to some of these other options. But I would say I'd feel totally fine doing 1. 2 would make me feel a little hesitant. But if I got good ones, like I got like, Hampton and I don't know. I mean, if you could get Hampton, Henderson, if something like that ended up, I'd feel pretty okay with it. But that's also a question that we'll be able to answer more in camp when we know 100% how things are shaking out. But I wouldn't go more than 2. For your entire starting lineup, not even running backs, 3 would also be like, okay, it's fine. Don't go more than 3. Don't have like 4 rookies in your starting lineup. Okay. We're going to be on the clock in a second here. We need running back, obviously. We're not in an amazing spot for it. I don't hate Spears. Actually, Spears and Benson. I like both of them. We're going to have a video on Benson coming up. These wide receivers, I don't hate Kyle Williams. I really feel like that wouldn't be bad. And actually, if we can get that in, Warren, lovely. Okay, so we're getting this Indy stack, and maybe we can get AR a little bit later on. I think that was sharp, but we should probably go Spears after this, right? Oh, Love isn't gone. No, we should have paid attention more. Do we take Love? We only have 1, right? No, I'm not going to take Love. I'm going to go with Spears. I think we're better off at this spot. I should have checked McCarthy. I should have taken McCarthy at that spot. I was going to say we're better off going with McCarthy because I thought he went way later than this. People are really taking McCarthy at 138. Well, we'll cross our fingers and hope that us having Addison and Hawkinson, the only other ones are Jefferson and Aaron Jones, and maybe they won't get taken. It's not the end of the world if we don't end up with McCarthy. And honestly, it'd be fantastic value if we ended up with him. But yeah, probably should have taken McCarthy over Spears there. But I was talking too long and we got to spot. We're totally fine though. We're fine. We can get again, Tua will be an option for us. Anthony Richardson will be an option for us. Shuck will be an option for us. I would actually feel okay if those were our 3. We can get them all 250 and later. And by us avoiding, other people are drafting more quarterbacks, and so they're less likely to take them a little bit later on. We're okay. But let's cross our fingers. Because it'd be really, really nice if we can end up getting McCarthy at our next pick. Okay. Let us see if there's any more questions. But yeah, to finalize that one, I know you didn't ask about rookies. I feel like 3. Don't go past 3 rookies in your starting lineup. You can hammer your bench, but don't do the starting lineup. How are you attacking quarterback and tight end in redraft this year? Are you leaning heavily towards the top end of either position, or is it a good year to double dip if you don't find good value? Also, doing that study where we're looking at how successful teams are doing these, the initial reports are early or late for both. And actually, it's spitting out that mid-round tight end in a redraft league is like the worst decision you can make. Like, it is literally like, if you do not grab one of the top 3 this year, double dip later on, because it's simply not worth spending one of the mid-round picks at tight end. And I feel like that's kind of true. Again, best ball's different because of the stacking environment, the weekly upside you need, and the ability to not have to start. Like, you can start 3 of them, obviously, and then McCarthy goes. That's unfortunate. And Tua goes. The heck? It's different in best ball. In a redraft league, if you're not early, you're late. I think we're probably going to stick with that one this year. In redraft quarterback, it's similar, but quarterback always for me in a redraft league is what happens? Who falls? I'm not going to be reaching for quarterback in a redraft league. There's a million really good quarterbacks in redraft. One of them at some point is going to be like around ADP value, and I'm going to draft that player. Like, that's just how it's going to work in redraft. There's no reason to like worry that much about quarterback. Just figure it out when it happens. Okay, so everyone wants to draft a quarterback, and that's a problem. I do not want to be reaching for either of these guys, so maybe we just keep grabbing any value we see. Ugh. Well, what if we did? I don't want to do that. Oh, God, we're taking Anthony Richardson. That's a problem. Okay, we're going to take Anthony Richardson because we need a quarterback. I feel like I want, what's the problem here? Impressing at camp. I feel like I want Leggett, but I need a running back. I mean, my running back room stinks right now. I have Dowdle. I guess we'll just do that. I think we have to take Dowdle. I don't think I'm like a huge Dowdle fan, but we have 2 running backs. Oh, no, we had 3. I forgot we had Spears. Okay, so that works for us. But we need more running backs on this squad. And I'm not too worried about ADP value at this point. I mean, we have 4 picks left. Like, to try and play the ADP game. It doesn't make too much sense. We're probably going to want... Could we get away with 5 running backs total here? We might be able to. If I just assume that McCaffrey is good to go, plays all season, that's 1 running back. If I just assume that Breece Hall is a hit, there's 2 most weeks. I'm not going to be worried about this range. We're going to hope they score random touchdowns, making the lineup. Okay, that's our plan here. We're going to draft 1 more running back. We have 4 picks. We're going to need 2 quarterbacks. So Shuck's probably going to be one of them to pair with Shaheed, which means I wouldn't hate grabbing Jawan as well and maybe going like Shuck Jawan to kind of close things off. We'll have the first pick in round 18. So we're going to have late 17, early 18. And I don't think anyone's going to take Shuck from us, but these guys are quarterback hungry, so maybe they will, which means we'll have 2 picks leading up to that. One of them will need to be a quarterback. So we're probably taking quarterback in the next round. We can obviously take Cam Ward if he's available in the next round. Maybe he'll end up being there. We're 13 picks away. If he's not there, I really don't like Sam Darnold because I'm worried about Milroe stealing like goal line stuff, like just going in there as like a kind of a goal line back or a red zone option. And it's probably stupid to take Daniel Jones and be like, all right, whoever starts a quarterback for the Colts, I got you. You're my starting quarterback. We're pretending like we're having 2. It's probably a stupid decision to do that. So we're really crossing our fingers for Cam Ward. Would we take like Dart? I mean, we don't have any Giants players, so that's a problem. I mean, we're probably fine with the 2 stacks that we would have if we had AR, Shuck, and just a random quarterback, because we'd have 2 stacks, and that random quarterback would just be get me some random points. We can take a shot on Aaron Rodgers joining with Pittsburgh. We don't have any Pittsburgh players, unfortunately, and like Cousins could also do that, so you're not guaranteed that he's even going to play. That's a toughie. Are there any late Seattle players I care about? Not really. I'm not like a Horton fan. Ugh. Oh, and there goes Cam Ward. We're in a pickle. We're not in a good spot here. Do we have to take Shuck and just like guarantee ourselves? Because if we don't get him, I mean, we're cooked. Like, we're absolutely cooked. There's some running backs I'm fine with, so I'm not going to take running back here. I don't care about these wide receivers. So actually, that's the move. We take Shuck with one of them because I am fine taking running back at the last pick. There are some running backs I like later on that people are not drafting. So I'm good doing that. Yeah. I don't know who I would even draft at that spot. So let's take Juwan. Let's lock in the 2 stacks. Because we can't even risk it with the 2 quarterback 11 buys. We have to draft that 3rd quarterback. We at least, at a minimum, we've got 2 stacks that are solid. Anthony Richardson throwing to Pittman and Warren, and then Shuck throwing to Shaheed and Juwan Johnson. So we're fine there. We don't need a correlated stack with this next quarterback. We need to take whatever quarterback we think might do something okay. We don't have a week 11 bye for Sam Darnold. So, realistically, that is probably our best option. I don't really want to take Dart. I feel like I would rather just, do we know the bye for Pittsburgh? Week 5? Okay. It's not a good spot. So this is also, theoretically, I'll pull this up for like a couple seconds for you guys. Theoretically, you can draft 2 quarterbacks with the same bye in best ball. You just have to assume that your team is number 1. The gap between number 1 and number 2 historically is relatively wide, and it would not come down to that week 11. Like the 15 points that we'd probably lose not drafting that quarterback. If we get first place in this league, it is probably not going to impact us losing those 15 points. So we're probably fine there. It's second place. If we are more in that second, third spot, it will probably come down to those 15 points, and we are guaranteed to not have a quarterback in that spot. So I think I want to just draft one. The problem is Sam Darnold's gone. So I'm drafting Dart or Aaron Rodgers. There is no guarantee Dart even plays this season. I think he's going to, because I don't think the Giants can be good enough to be in contention later on. And so the hope would be kind of towards that week 11 range, he becomes the starting quarterback and we're fine. I think he's my lean, but I don't feel good about it. We're running back what we want. Jaquez, Neal, Ollie Gordon would be the 3 I feel solid about. I don't think I feel solid about Neal. I just feel solid about the opportunity, right? I like Alvin Kamara, but there's still plenty of opportunity on this team. Also thinking about it now, we have that stack, obviously, New Orleans. And then Ollie Gordon, I think we can probably get with our last pick. I really like him with the last pick. So if we don't end up with Neal, it's pretty likely that Ollie Gordon will be here. I don't think they're both going to get taken. But yeah, I don't think Neal's like that great of a prospect, if we're being honest. But I also just don't think Kendra Miller's all that good. So if he can win that number 2 spot, obviously that has more value than the there goes Devin Neal, than the 17-12. For Ollie Gordon, we're going to talk about him in the Friday video, which I haven't recorded yet, but we're going to talk about him in the Friday video as an extension of Von Achan. I think Ollie Gordon could be their goal line back this season. I think Ollie Gordon could be a passing down back. Not that they're going to throw it to him a ton, but I think he could negatively impact Achan this season. If Ollie Gordon can run into the end zone a few times, that is going to benefit our team. So, can someone just go down there and tell me to draft Dart or Aaron Rodgers? Whoever says an answer, whichever one gets an answer twice, I'll just draft that player. So you guys are drafting this final pick. If it doesn't happen, I'll probably draft Dart. But someone tell me who to draft between Dart and Aaron Rodgers. At least I know Dart's on a team and he's going to play. Rodgers, Dart, whoever says it next, Dart. Okay. I think that makes more sense. I know he's on a team. I know I'm not drafting Aaron Rodgers, getting 0 from him, and then taking the week 11. Like, I think by week 11, Dart's probably going to play. I think he actually is a solid prospect. And, like, what's the point of playing Russell Wilson when you're not going to make the playoffs? You're not going to be that great of a team. You know, throw him out there, see what he can do. I think that's going to happen by later in the season. Okay. We finagled our way out of an issue. We messed up, obviously. Like, we obviously messed up in this draft. We should have drafted McCarthy instead of Spears. at that pick. That absolutely 100% should have occurred because there are later options at running back. Even if I just missed out on Neal, but getting Ollie Gordon there. Brashard Smith is a totally fine pick. You want to take the upside of Taj Brooks. If you want to take a shot on Miles Sanders, like there are running backs that you can draft in the final round. Sean Tucker is going to be the number 3. If there's an injury over there, he'll get usage. Chubb, I think, will probably sign with someone who kind of knows, but there are running backs you can go for. James as well. Like with that last pick where I don't think Spears is going to be some like amazing player, getting that stack is something we probably should have done. We have a super chat and we're done with this draft, right? Yeah, we're done with this draft. We're going to go into another one. So if you guys want to join into this one, go right now and get into one. Again, it is the puppy, but not Superflex for that one. The Schnauzer. We're going to join this one again. 20 seconds per pick, not the 30-second one. Let's get first place. Let's get $100,000. Can we do it? Can we win this one? Okay. Super chat. Thank you. Flacco over 5.5 starts for the over-under. Genty over or under 17 or 1,075.5 yards. Gibbs 1,050. Okay. I'll tell you what my exact projection is for all of those players in a second. Typically, my projection, like they're obviously factoring in injury, right? So they're going to put the projection lower. But when the projection is close, you want to take the under. All right, we had Genty. Let's see what he's at. I have Genty at 1,300. So we're looking better than that. That's actually not crazy higher. That's probably saying that's 1,300 across 17 weeks. So if he misses 2 games, he's probably hovering at that general mark. My lean would be over on that one. I think he's going to be featured. Oh, we got the 101. We got a 12 pick and 101. I like over on that one. Gibbs 1,049. I have that one at 1,000, like 1,160. That one you're looking at more like 2 missed games and it's a problem. I don't like that one as much. I like Genty a lot more, 1,075.5 than I like Gibbs. I think that's fine. It's probably correct line. I don't love it. Flacco over under 5.5 starts. I mean, I think he starts the season. I'm projecting under right now. I'm projecting the most starts for Schruden, actually, then Dylan Gabriel, then Watson. We have no idea right now. Oh, I'm not on the clock, right? Oh, I am on the clock. Well, I'm taking Jamar Chase, obviously. Okay. I don't actually know the math there. I'm projecting 55% of the starts for Schruden, 30% for Gabriel, 15% for Flacco. I don't know. I mean, under. I'm saying under now. I don't think he's going to do more than that. So I think the only over there I'd go is Genty. I feel really good about Genty this season. He's so good. And look at the depth chart there. It's an absolute joke. Oh, I'll pull this one up. Hold on. I think we have to exit this one. There we go. And we need to pull up this one for you all. There you go. All right. I think we are on this one. Don't forget to like. Yes. Leave a like on the video. Doesn't do much, but makes me feel better. What is your full take on Drake Maye this year from a Superflex perspective? I mean, I don't think my take changes whether it's Superflex or not. I would be totally fine drafting him. You would draft 2 quarterbacks at that point. But if I was like double dipping in a 1 quarterback league later on, I'd totally take him. I like him. I mean, the rushing ability is there. He's probably going to come down from his yards per carry last season. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty crazy. But the offense is obviously going to be better. They had nothing. They had absolutely nothing last season. Pathetic effort from the wide receiver room. The running back room was like fine, but it was so average. You get a better running back in there, more explosive in the passing game. You know, you upgrade the wide receiver room. You just take pressure off everyone. He goes into, another year, his career, like just developing as a player. Like I think he's a good bet. Let me pull up the exact ranking. I feel like he goes in that like quarterback 15. Yeah, 15, 16. ADP 16. I think that's just a good spot for him. Again, I never reach for a quarterback, but if he was on the board in a spot where you needed that second or third, probably third quarterback, it'd be fine. If you went like, I don't know, Jane Daniels, Drake Maye, and McCarthy, if those are your three quarterbacks, I'd feel really good about that. I think he's a locked and loaded quarterback too. He would be someone that I'd feel really good about because worst case scenario, it's last year where he was still fine in fantasy because of the rushing ability. This year, like, let's be honest, everything is upgraded. Better coaching staff. The play calling was pathetic, absolutely pathetic last season. Everything's getting better. He's getting better as a player. The mobility is there from a floor and feeling perspective. I like him. I like him a lot. Maybe we'll try and draft him in this one. The problem in best ball is a little bit, I don't like the value on Diggs. I think Douglas is fine, but am I winning $1 million or $2 million for Best Ball Mania on a Douglas stack? Probably not. Sometimes just like, who do I even pair with him, All right. We are here. So we've got Chase. We are hoping for Higgins, obviously. Kind of like we had talked about in the last video. If we don't get Higgins, we probably grab Taylor. And we probably grab McBride. And after that, I do think there's, and I don't want to say a decent drop off. Like, I'd love Tyreek Hill at this spot, but there goes T. Higgins. That's unfortunate. I think we go Taylor. I think we lock in a million touches at the running back position. Between McBride, my rankings have McBride. ADP value has McBride. Again, I like that. I like Tyreek Hill. I have drafted 1 million Tyreek Hill shares. We didn't draft him last time. Yeah, we drafted Waddle in the last draft. Let's see how like a core pillars. So in the app, I had to build out different strategies for the computer to simulate. Did we pull this up? Why is there it is. Okay. So I had to develop strategies for the computer, right? The computer is drafting based off different draft strategies in the app, which is free to download. You can mock draft on there. And I call one of them core pillars, which is just, that classic strategy of 1, 2, 3, draft a quarterback here. And it's not like, once you draft one, you don't have to go in any order, right? Like, it's obviously not taking a round one quarterback, but it's doing, one in each position. Trying to basically, I think it was maybe a couple years ago, you were able to get like, I think maybe Kelsey fell pretty far and you were able to get like McCaffrey at 1, Kelsey, Allen, and then like an elite wide receiver. And actually ended up where if you were in that range, you did actually hit on like getting the 1 at every position. Can't remember what year it was, but you're hoping that happens, right? You're hoping that Jonathan Taylor goes out there, gets 350 touches, scores 16 touchdowns, is the running back 1. That Trey McBride goes out there, has 110 receptions, 15 touchdowns, quarterback 1. That Chase is wide receiver 1. And you are just locked and loaded at every single spot with significant upside for every spot there. Probably a better redraft strategy than best ball, but at 48, we're in a pretty good spot to get one of the elite quarterbacks. So we'll see. Maybe we end up doing that. Looking at the Broncos backfield, aren't we forgetting that Estime was only 20 years old when he got drafted, simply developed the season? Absolutely could happen. Not amazing that he was like consistently thrown in the doghouse last season. Was also not very efficient. We knew he was a bad receiving back going in, and then I think he ended up being like the worst receiving back when you like filter by like qualified starters or whatever you call it. That's more the issue, and why you wouldn't want to draft him, because everyone else they have in that backfield is a good pass catcher. And so he's literally going to have like 5 receptions this year if he's lucky. I just think maybe it'll happen in the preseason camp and it's going to skyrocket his ADP. But when you guys watch Harvey run, you're going to be like, oh, that's different than McLaughlin. That's different than what Williams was or what Estime is. Like, it's just a different level of talent, and especially from an explosiveness perspective. And like Estime is not explosive in any way. I think we'll see it. I think just talent-wise, it's going to be different. But yes, he's a young running back. Running backs can develop. They can get a lot better. So could 100% happen. I don't think it's going to, though. You're my favorite best ball content creator. Thank you. Thoughts on Jonathan Taylor this season for PPR? To me, he's a top 5 runner in the league with zero competition behind him. Yeah, they drafted what is Giddens, more of a pass catching specialist, which isn't amazing in full PPR. I just drafted him, so it should show you, yes, I think he can get 1 million touches this season. Let's do the core pillars. Let's draft one of maybe we'll go with Hurts in this one. If we didn't, I'm not taking these running backs. I already have JT. I like Metcalf. Well, I like JMO too. No, I'm gonna go with Metcalf. I like JMO. I like Kittle. Oh, that's tough. That's a toughie. Okay. But we already have McBride. 14. I think I want JMO. I think he makes the most sense here. Do we have fun and grab Hurts? I don't think we're going to do it. I kind of want to try McBride and Kittle. Thought process being, I do think that they can be the number one. Like, obviously, I think Brock Bowers is awesome. I think they can be the number 1, number 2 tight end. It didn't work out last season going early tight end, and that's why people are hesitant to kind of do the strategy. Every year is different. I remember I did that study where I simulated 500 years worth of best ball drafts just to see what was optimal over time. You can see what's optimal over time. And actually, the most optimal build was, I believe, 5 wide receivers in a row. But it's not every year. You can look at the single most optimal build and then look through all the 500 years and see so many years where it's awful. You can do a 30-year sample for best ball and be like, oh, wow, that's the best strategy. Then you simulate 30 more years and it turns out to be mediocre or bad. So much randomness happens, not only from who ends up being good, who ends up getting injured, but literally when their spiked weeks happen. Like, just the simple fact that, like, maybe McBride goes off in week 4 versus week 5 versus week 6 can alter everything. Because what if he goes off in a week where the next best tight end scores 7? The amount of points you're gaining in that week is incredible compared to if he goes off in weeks where the next best tight end is right next to him and there's another one close to it. Even just when the spikes happen, how big the spikes are, all of that variance can impact a strategy in one specific year. I bring this up because we could easily get into a situation where McBride and Kittle are just alternating nuke weeks. I am lapping the field. We get into week 15, 16. McBride drops a nuke. McBride drops a nuke, and Kittle does nothing. And then Kittle drops a nuke in week 17. That's honestly how you win in best ball, is you want a player that either does nothing during the season, you advance with low rate, or maybe they do like okay, kind of get you to the playoffs, but they do nothing in weeks 15, week 16. They're like 2% rostered in the final week, and then they drop a nuke. Players capable of that are McBride and Kittle. They're capable of 10 for $150 and 3 touchdowns and being the top scoring tight end by 20. If that happens in week 17, you're counting your money, especially if it's at a 2% rostership. So I like mixing in a strategy like this. We are obviously not going to draft another tight end. Game theory wise, you could be like, okay, well, Nick, what if Kittle gets hurt in week 2, misses the rest of the season? You need that tight end, and then he goes off in the playoffs at a 1% ownership. Yes, that can happen, but I'm going to play the odds here and say I can probably advance with these two. It's going to hurt me a lot if I draft another tight end. So we're not going to take one. We're going to utilize the value of what we just did for the rest of the draft, and we'll see what happens. We can kind of look at what the team looks like after that. Okay, we're up in 5. We'll be at 72-73. I really like Olave. Olave goes. I like Debo. Obviously, he carries that weekly upside. He's leveraged off some, Washington players. There goes Debo. Okay. Judy's not a bad pick at this spot. I like Pearsall. I like Myers. I would probably only draft those 3 at this spot. Running back. I don't hate Connor. I don't hate going Connor and Benson at running back here. So we're fine with Caleb and we're fine with Judkins. Basically just volume backs. Can we get a lot of, rush attempts, touchdowns? We're not going to the quarterback here. Okay. So I think Pearsall's a definite. I kind of want 2 receivers. I don't know. I definitely want Pearsall. So we'll take Pearsall. Do I want Myers or to go with Caleb? I mean, value-wise, it probably helps our team more to draft Caleb, get a ton of touches under our belt. We're good at receiver. We've got Chase. We've got Williams, Pierce. I mean, we're not good at receiver. It probably makes sense. All right, we'll go Caleb. It feels like the non-fun play, but I think it makes too much sense to kind of build that a little bit more evenly. We want to be strong each of those spots because we have that advantage at the tight end spot. As long as we don't kind of screw up any other spots, we will have to go back to quarterback, obviously. As long as we don't like screw up anywhere else, if we've got solid production at running back and receiver, and we're crushing tight end every week, we're looking really, really good in this draft. Okay. You've come to the thought that rankings for fantasy football are getting significantly more and more accurate as the years progress. Do you think that makes fantasy football more and more random? To a degree. So best ball is already random, obviously. I've just kind of went over how just like random spiked weeks can occur even if you're right on a player. It's when do those spikes even happen? You can be totally right on a player and they just don't do that good in week 15 and you lose. You know, like that's how tough it is. I would say in redraft leagues, like hometown leagues, there's still a pretty big level of edge just because like, yes, projections are getting better, but unless you're in like a hyper competitive league, the amount of people in your league that are paying for ETR, paying for like Fantasy Pros Premium, Fantasy Points, those big websites, it's minimal. It's not like it's that many people. Maybe you are in a super competitive league and everyone's doing that. But if you know that everyone's doing that, you can do a little bit more research and be like, okay, half my league uses ETR. Where is ETR on players? You can pull up Excel, Google Sheets, throw in ETR rankings. I guess maybe you don't have them, but what you could do is you could throw in those rankings and kind of just see where people are going to reach, kind of know what players are likely to drop because you know what everyone's using. But anyways, yeah, it becomes a little bit more random if everyone is drafting accurately. But at the end of the day, every site's also a little bit different. No matter what projection site you're using, they're converging a little bit, and many sites just steal from ETR. Like I don't, but I know that sites do, and creators steal from each other and stuff. I don't watch videos. I very rarely, I will listen to ETR from time to time, but I would say I listen to like one podcast a week, if that. But I know there is, people listening to other takes and kind of there's groupthink, I guess, in the industry. So projections are getting more accurate, but they're more just like converging around one take more often than not. And so there can be a lot of leverage in if you have a different take, which, listen, when we like a player by ADP, we're hoping to be right like 65% of the time, hopefully 70% of the time. There's a huge amount of time with every single player. You're going to be wrong. And the industry is going to be wrong. So if you've got a take, you follow specific beat reporters. You have followed a player in college and you think they're going to be good. You have an idea about a player in a system. It can really benefit you to kind of have that take, especially in these hometown leagues. But overall, I don't think it's like that random. You can still see the people who pay for rankings, subscribe to these sites, are going to do better than people who do not. But it does also influence ADP when these sites are a little bit more accurate. So is what it is. Join a league where I want to join a league where it's like there's a draft board and a marker and you got nothing. You go into that room with your brain and that's it. You have to remember players. There is one person taking notes to make sure you don't double draft players, but that is it. You go in with a marker and a whiteboard. You don't get a phone. There's nothing. You come out with your team. That's it. I think you should do a league like that. Okay. Kyler would be great, obviously. We have McBride stack. We want McBride going off this season. We don't have Denver. I like Bo Nix, obviously, but we could stack him later if we wanted to. Running back, I don't know that I would touch. I don't know that I'd go wide receiver there, and we're not going quarterback. So I wouldn't hate going Bo Nix. Again, definitely going Kyler. Because we can get like Bryant super late. We're not going to get Ingram, though. We're not going to get a good stack with him. Do we go Shaheed again? ADP-wise, it says take Brian. I don't hate doing that, and maybe we should. No, give me Shaheed. Maybe you could argue that Brian Robinson Jr. was the best pick there because I could have theoretically gotten Shaheed at the next pick. We're not going to get Brian Robinson Jr. there. I want stability at the running back spot, obviously. I feel good about here. I'm probably going to feel decent about quarterback. But this is also best ball. Again, I have a take that I think Shaheed is undervalued by at least a round, probably a round and a half. I think that he's got significant weekly upside. He's crushed it when healthy throughout his career and last season. And I do need wide receivers. This is a 3 wide receiver format. I need to start 3 every single week plus a flex spot. So I need a lot of wide receivers I feel good about. And it is going to drop off in value. So I actually don't hate taking him there. At the next pick, we were not going to get a wide receiver we feel unbelievably good about. And again, we have JT, we have Caleb Johnson. So we don't need to be drafting. Maybe we can try and get away with 4 running backs. It'd be interesting because we're only going to have 2 tight ends. If we can go 4 running backs and maybe only 2, would that be a 2, 4, 10, 2 build? We could get to 10 wide receivers. Maybe. We'll see. Is this Best Ball Mania? Will you do a second draft? This is the second draft and is not Best Ball Mania. It's the Schnauzer. We've been doing a couple of Best Ball Manias leading up to this, and I wanted maybe some people to get into these. Do you factor in quarterback historic trends of distributing the ball for projections with someone like Fields, who historically has number 1 receiver around 40%? That feels aggressive. Makes me like Garrett Wilson. Yes, that's built into there, obviously, and specifically also target shares. So a player like positional target shares, Stafford, right? In this offense more specifically, we know that the Rams offense is going to be like bottom 3% in target share to running backs. Sean McVay always, every single year, is bottom 3 at targeting running backs. He doesn't do it. His offenses throw the ball to wide receivers. So you obviously factor that in the projections and say, okay, the wide receivers are going to get a ton of volume in this spot, a little bit of flow over to the tight ends, which I adjusted the rankings for Terrence Ferguson. I moved him up and Tyler Higbee down. They're also going to use a lot of 12 personnel, which they historically have not done, but I think they're going to move to a lot more 12 personnel this year. So I think I'm going to have to reduce my take on Tutu a little bit. I think I'm going to move him down a little bit, but they gave me $10 million, which is a lot more than they probably should have. But anywho, yes, obviously I factor that in. Again, 40%, no one's getting a 40% target share. And data-wise, how much data do we really have on field? It's not that many years of data. But yes, obviously it's factored in. And it can make you like him, but again, I think the offense overall is not going to be great. It's going to be very slow, very low volume, very run-heavy, which has me concerned. Also, I don't think the touchdown ceiling is that high when they're running it so much, especially in the red zone. Okay. Projections don't like a running back at that spot. Quarterbacks can go with Maye. Problem is we don't have an option with them there. I think we're going to go with Mims. I think capturing the weekly upside makes sense here. I don't have a strong take, though, on what to do for quarterback. Because I don't think we can stack Herbert, really. But we can stack Maye. I think, right? Now I'm worried we can't. Okay, we can get Douglas. I think we go with Maye. I didn't check the bye weeks. Good. I just wanted someone stable. I do think that Herbert, they're going to run the ball a lot. We missed out on Ladd. Believe we missed out on Palmer. So you're going down to like Quentin Johnston. I don't know how much I want Quentin Johnston on my team. I'm a Douglas fan. I mean, I think I can still stack Douglas, and kind of fitting that, you know, we talked up Drake Maye. I think he can have a really good season. The mobility really helps us with that ceiling. I like that pick. But let's see. Can you just type in like NE and get... They need a better filtering option on Underdog because it also pops up everyone that's already been drafted. Obviously, if I'm searching for people, you know, I don't really want the people who've been drafted. Can I like do space and get only Patriots? No, I can't even do that. It's like I need to be able to pull up teams, but now I have to pull up everyone with NE anywhere. I just really just wanted to get Douglas onto the roster here. There he is. We could go with Hunter Henry too, but again, I don't want that other option there. So we'll just make sure we get Douglas. that up for you. Okay. And there you guys go. What happened to the team grade app for mock drafts? Still exists. I don't know where it is, to be honest with you. Let's see. Is it under 2024 content? Go to draft content, 2024 content, team grade app, and you should find it. Okay. Thoughts on Jimmy Horn Jr.? Can he beat out Thielen? I mean, Thielen's like 50. I think he's actually, 34, 35 years old. I like him from a talent perspective. I think the team wants to use him more as a gadget player, though. I think it's like end arounds, screen passes, design plays deep downfield. I think that's probably more so what you're looking at for Jimmy Horn Jr. I don't know that he has the upside to command a big target share. I think Tet's probably going to have a big target share there. I think maybe he beats out Thielen as the 3, but I don't know if there's really a chance. Like, he's not beating out Tet, obviously. And even Leggett, I don't know that he's going to beat out Leggett either as the number 2. So redraft, you're not touching him. Dynasty, if you want to take a shot super late, sure. Best ball last round, sure, in a stack. Again, I don't think maybe he beats out Thielen because he's like a senior, but it would have actually worked out going Quentin Johnston there at that pick. Do I just take Quentin Johnston? Oh, God. Because we need a lot of receivers. We could take your Rendo, but if we sort by my rankings, it's not. No, we need to. All right. I'm actually going to go with Ray, I think, at this pick. Quarterback. Yeah, we're going to stick with the 2 quarterbacks we have. I don't want any of those other running backs. We're not going to go there. Oh, Tillman. I'd rather Tillman than I don't like Quentin Johnston. He's not good. Yeah, let's go Tillman. I don't think we have to take Douglas at this pick. Tillman's issue is obviously that who the heck is his quarterback going to be? I don't know who his quarterback's going to be. We mentioned kind of the rotation last time. I think he's good, though. I'm of the opinion, you guys seem to disagree at times. I don't think Judy's very good. I just don't think he's that good of a wide receiver. So I wouldn't be shocked if Tillman ends up being the top wide receiver on that team. Deontay Johnson, I think he has $0 guaranteed, if that's correct. Like they could cut him and don't owe him like anything. So that kind of shows you how the league views him. And I understand I like Deontay Johnson as a player, but something happened to him where he's just flown off the rails. If he's taking a deal in Cleveland for no money guaranteed, you better believe that no one was offering him anything. And that should tell us something, right? Like that should tell us something that all these teams, he was a really good wide receiver. He's got unbelievable film out there. No one wants him besides Cleveland on a $0 guaranteed contract. Nothing's like really appealing about playing for the Cleveland Browns, right? So I don't think he's that much of a concern. I think Tillman's there too. I think he'd be their most valuable wide receiver. If he doesn't suffer that concussion last year, is he going in round 9? I mean, seriously, like he was going off. Deep targets. Huge target share. Then he suffers a concussion and he ends the season. But like he was really good. If he just steps back into that role, and I'm getting that in the 13th round of best ball redraft, that's like round 15, 16, because we're not in 3 wide receiver format and 2 wide receiver format. I'm saying, I don't know. I like him. Dynasty rookie draft. Would you go Scattaboo and 202, 204 over Higgins and Trey Harris if you have Kamara, Mixon, Dynasty, Superflex 10 and Premium, wide receivers, Jamar, Garrett, DK, Godwin? Yeah, that's a decision a lot of people are going to have. I definitely go Cam at that spot. I do like Cam more than Tootin. My issue with Tootin is I'm a little bit concerned about the fumbles. He fumbled a lot in college. He fumbled to open camp. If that turns into a problem, they have Etienne, who's not terrible. They have Tank. They don't need to throw him out there as their lead back. So I'm worried about that. Talent-wise, if they end up being like, he's our guy, we're trading Etienne, sky's the limit for him, and he'll, have a lot of upside, even just this season. My lean might be Scattaboo, Higgins, kind of just grabbing 2 there. But it also depends on how you feel about the late running backs. And if really just Kamara and Mixon are your only 2 running backs, maybe you do want to grab the both of them. But I would definitely take Scadaboo. I feel very strongly that he's going to have a good career, going to have a good, he's not going to be some god, but like, I think he's going to be really good passing down back. I think he has the upside to be a 3-down back. I like him a lot. I definitely take him. And if you think you're super thin at running back, totally fine to take there as well. If you're not going to go him, I'd maybe take the shot on Higgins. But Higgins-Harris really just comes down to which one you think hits. There's concerns about both of them, but there's absolutely ceiling to both of them as well. Okay. 168. Yeah, we probably just take Douglas at this spot. We'll have 3 picks after this. We will have to take another running back, but we're not taking another tight end. We're not taking another quarterback. We will take, we'll take him there. Between these two, ADP wise, Pat Bryant is up there, and I like Pat Bryant this season. Oh, but we have Michael Wilson in the stack, which probably makes more sense. And he's our top-ranked player. All right, let's go Michael Wilson and Demario Douglas. We got a really nice stack going on in Arizona. We don't have Marv, but that's okay. We probably should have one New England player, so we grab him. I like Pat Bryant a lot, but uncorrelated. We probably don't go there. All right. We will take Douglas. This is coming out good. Kyler and Drake May at quarterback. We only have JT, Caleb Johnson, and Ray Davis. But we've got 3 picks left. We can use 2 of them at running back if we really feel like we need to. Wide receiver, Jamar Chase, J-Mo, Pearsall, Shaheed, Marvin Mims, Tillman, Michael Wilson, and Douglas stacked. And then we've got McBride and Kittle at tight end. Okay. We're looking good. I like this. I like how this is turning out. Shipley's a good play there too. You're going to hear about him tomorrow. Okay. Let's take a moment and applaud your take on drafting 2 Panthers running backs. Brooks didn't pan out, but you were pushing to take both. But yeah, that was the thesis last season. It was like, obviously you hit on a high-end outcome of like one of them straight up doesn't play and the other crushes, but that was always in the range of outcomes. You were getting both of them in basically the double-digit rounds. You take both. Whoever's a starting running back is probably a running back 1, and you go from there. Yeah, I thought it was a good take, having them both as must draft. Do you think AR is a complete bust? I think it's possible. Yeah, I think it's absolutely possible. More from a passing perspective. It's not like his, raw talent is busting in a way that was like, oh, he's not athletic. Like, if he could just throw the football to open receivers, he'd be great. Because deep ball wise, the dude's got a cannon. That ended up being true. And he's not bad as a deep passer. In terms of like, some quarterbacks can't even get the ball that far downfield. So it's like, it doesn't really matter how accurate you are. If you can actually even hit people that far downfield, that just opens up an offense so much because you have to respect a 60-yard pass. But man, if he could just get a little accurate, like just even be a little bit below average, he could be so good. But yeah, I think there's a chance. But I also think because I love Pittman, I love Downs, I love Tyler Warren. If you start off with an indie stack, you better believe I'm going after AR, because if he hits on his high-end outcome at like the 170s by ADP, you are crushing, and you are probably advancing if that is happening. You have best ball draft on Sleeper today. Interesting. On Sunday. I don't know why I said today. June 1st. You play the same format as Best Ball Mania, 18 rounds, same starting lineup. Ali rookie. Oh. I need to read that again. I don't think I understood what the question was. But, again, I need to drop the ranking on 2-2, so we're not going to take him here. 192, 193. We can go with Devin Neal. We talked about him last time. We can go with Ollie Gordon. We talked about him last time. Again, Ollie Gordon could probably be our 18th round pick. But because I'd also be fine with Woody Marks. I'd be fine with, again, Rashard Smith. That's what I'm good with that running back. Wide receiver. I don't hate Coker. It just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. Why don't we go with Devin Neal with one of these? Oh, I think Dayami. I feel pretty solid about Dyami Brown actually having a role in this offense this season, and then we'll just probably take the last rookie there. We'll probably end up with 9 wide receivers because I like the wide receivers in this list. I don't think we necessarily need 10. Dyami's probably going to end up with an ADP closer to 180. That's kind of my general take. Was good kind of the close last season. Showed some talent showing up right now in camp. There's no padded practices, so you can't look too much into camp right now. But I think he actually has some level of talent. I think he's very clearly their third wide receiver right now in Jacksonville. And I'm not scared of Travis Hunter not playing a lot, but there will be times where they need him on defense, that he only plays 70% of snaps, and that Dyami Brown is the number 2 wide receiver on a pretty good team with a pretty good quarterback, getting all single coverage because Brian Thomas Jr. is taking all of that away, and he's a deep threat. And you get him in usually the 18th round. I took him in 17 because I had the last pick in 18. I didn't think he was going to be there at that point. He's a strong pick, like a really, really strong pick in drafts. Redraft, I don't know. I mean, we're in round 17 of a 3 wide receiver best ball format. That's like round 20 in redraft. You probably aren't going to have to go there, but I can see the upside. I like drafting him. I would be very overweight in Dyami Brown right now if you're drafting. I need to read that again. We play the same format as Best Ball Mania with 18 rounds and same starting lineup. All rookie wide receivers and running backs are way too low in the rankings. Tips. Are you saying on the sleeper rankings? If so, I don't know. The tip is draft them. If they're all super far back, don't hesitate. I mean, yes, you're going to be better in the second half of the season. It's best ball. That's not the end of the world. I guess mix and match them in. But yeah, if you're getting huge discounts on the rookies, I feel very strongly about this rookie running back class. So that's one where if they're later on, hammer wide receiver. Start off with a ton of wide receivers. If you can actually get some of these rookie running backs really late in the draft or much later than you should, load up on wide receivers to start, take a shot on a quarterback, a tight end early, and then just hammer these these running backs. Probably a good strategy. Do you think Bryce Young can have a second-year jump with Canales and Canales' track record with quarterbacks? I think so. I mean, I think he kind of had that last season, a second half of the year jump in the first year with Canales. Yes, because he gets a true number 1. That's what we thought that Deontay was going to do. So Dave Canales' offense is the X receiver is awesome. And remember, that goes back to the projections of it's not necessarily the quarterback always, the offense. That offense is going to heavily utilize the X receiver. That is what Ted McMillan is. He's a pure X receiver. He now has that. We thought Deontay Johnson was going to do that last season. Turns out he was a head case, and he went to a bunch of teams and just kind of threw away his career. But Tet's going to do that for him. You bring in, kind of this explosive upside of Jimmy Horn Jr. You have this relatively stable ground game, we think. You have kind of the leadership maybe of Adam Thielen. So it's they're not a deep offense, but I think Tet goes in there and stabilizes that 1 in a way where Leggett can be that, more 2-player, that 3 can kind of be mixed in a little bit more, that they kind of know what's happening at running back this season and have options behind Chuba Hubbard. I think he can have that second-year jump. I don't know that he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, but another player in Superflex, in best ball, maybe in a redraft league if you wanted to go him and Drake Maye. Beautiful. You kind of capitalize on these kind of later options. Oh, wait. I do have another pick. For a second, I thought I didn't have another pick yet. I'll take Woody Marks. I think he'd be the number 2 there. If I didn't go him, there's no running back I would want. I don't hate Savion Williams. I don't hate A.D. Mitchell taking a shot on him, but I would take Woody Marks with this pick. So we would have been autoed him, hoping it's not your turn to draft. It most certainly is my turn to draft. So don't know what's happening totally. I'm assuming it's going to auto us Woody Marks at the end of this thing. Let me pull this up. I don't know. I feel like it just bugs out sometimes, but we got Woody Marks there. But yeah, I think you can take that second jump. Here's the team. I love our wide receiver room, even kind of foregoing it longer than you usually would in a best ball draft. But Chase, J-Mo, Pearsall, Shaheed, Mims. We're getting just explosive players. Tillman, Michael Wilson, less explosive, into Douglas. But then Dyami Brown, running back room, headlined by JT, Caleb Johnson, Ray Davis, Devin Neal, and then we got Woody Marks. I haven't talked a lot about Woody Marks. I don't think he's going to go in there and like steal the job of Mixon, but I think he's a decent running back. I think he'll lock in that number 2 job. I think he can be used in the receiving game. I don't mind him again with the last pick in the 18th round. And then, yeah, we got that Kyler, Drake, Maye duo that I think are good values. And then we took a shot on McBride and Kittle to see how that works out. I like this team. I think I like this team a lot more than one we had before. Okay. You needed Tua for my Tyreek stack. Oh, is that going back to the last one? Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you end up grabbing Tyreek Hill, you want to be a little bit focused on grabbing Tua, because if Tyreek Hill is hitting his best outcome, it means that Tua is staying healthy, that Tua is throwing for a ton of yards, and that he is probably shattering his ADP. So I get the correlation there. All right, that'll do it for this one. We'll probably end up doing 2 drafts every single week now, just because we got through 2 of them. It was only the hour 15, not too much over time here. Thank you all for watching this one. Leave a like if you're still here. If for some reason the 77 of you are not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow is going to be year 2, 3 running backs that I like. Friday is ones I don't like, and I have no idea what the Saturday video is, but there will be a Saturday video. So I'll catch you guys on the Tuesday stream next week. Watch the video tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good one. See ya.